There is a strange force that pulls younger women toward older men. Some call it attraction, others call it survival instinct. It is not just about age or appearance. It is something far more hidden, buried deep inside human psychology. Think about it. A young girl who has their whole world in front of her often finds herself drawn to a man who has already lived half of his life. Why? What secret does the human mind hide that makes youth chase maturity, innocence chase experience, and beauty chase power? This attraction has been written about in history, whispered about in families, and observed in modern relationships. It unsettles people because it breaks common logic. Should not youth prefer youth? Why would a woman in her early 20s feel her heartbeat rise in front of a man twice her age? Is it money? Is it security? Or is there something darker, something wired into the brain itself? If you stay with me through this video, you will see the layers of psychology stripped bare. We will step into the human mind where love, fear, power, and desire collide in ways that society rarely talks about. Younger women feeling drawn to older men often seems like a mystery, but if we step into biology, the puzzle begins to make sense. Attraction is not only about romance or choice. It is also about the survival codes written into the human body over thousands of years. When we look at this from the perspective of evolution, women have always had to think, even unconsciously, about survival and the future of their children. A man who is older, who has already proven himself, gives off signals that the brain interprets as stability, protection, and resources. This does not mean every younger woman is chasing wealth or status. It goes deeper. The female brain has been wired to notice certain traits, strength, wisdom, reliability, that often increase with age. While a younger man may still be searching for himself, an older man has usually already built his path. This difference creates a powerful psychological magnet. To the mind of a woman, he represents survival, and survival is one of the strongest forces in nature. There are also subtle biological cues. Studies in evolutionary psychology show that women are more likely to find maturity attractive during certain phases of their cycle. Hormonal changes make the mind more sensitive to cues of protection and security. It is almost as if the body whispers, choose someone who can keep you safe, someone who has already shown he can win in life. Even if society changes, biology still speaks in its own secret language. But there is another layer. Older men often carry a certain calmness in their body language. They are less restless, less eager to prove themselves, and that calmness creates a strange aura. To a younger woman, it feels like stepping into a safe zone where energy is not scattered but controlled. The brain interprets that control as strength, even if the man does not speak a single word. Younger men may have youthful energy, but older men have the weight of time, and time itself is power. Think about how in nature, the strongest leaders of groups, whether lions or wolves, are not always the youngest. They are the ones who have fought, survived, and led through storms. Human psychology still carries those instincts. When a younger woman looks at an older man, her unconscious mind is not just seeing his face. It is calculating his strength, his calmness, and his ability to protect her world. Of course, attraction is never only about biology. But if we ignore biology, we miss the foundation of why certain patterns repeat through centuries. Younger women are not only choosing based on the present moment. Deep inside, their minds are still listening to ancient survival codes. When we move beyond biology and step into psychology, a second powerful force begins to shape attraction: experience. Life leaves marks on people. It builds scars, lessons, and strength that cannot be found in books or classrooms. An older man has lived through storms. He has tasted failure, rebuilt himself, and learned what silence means when words are not enough. That experience changes the way he carries himself, and it changes how others see him. Younger women often sense this difference instantly. A man who has walked through years does not panic in small conflicts. He does not rush to impress. He speaks less, but his words weigh more. To a young woman still figuring out the world, that level of certainty feels magnetic. It is not about controlling her. It is about showing that he has control over himself. In psychology, this is called self-regulation, the ability to master your emotions rather than letting emotions master you. That power is rare in youth, but it grows with time, and it radiates from those who have earned it. Confidence also plays a major role. Confidence is not shouting, nor is it arrogance. Real confidence is quiet. It is the ability to walk into a room and not need validation from anyone else. Younger men often struggle with this. They compete, compare, and constantly seek approval. Older men, having already tested their worth, no longer need to prove anything. That invisible difference creates an aura that younger women pick up instantly. It is not seen, but it is felt. There is also the mystery of wisdom. Stories shared by older men often carry hidden weight. A single sentence spoken by someone who has lived longer can hit harder than a book written by someone who has not yet suffered. A younger woman, listening, finds herself learning without even realizing it. The dynamic becomes not just attraction, but growth. She feels that by being near him, she is expanding her understanding of life. In psychology, this creates a bond that goes beyond physical attraction. It becomes a connection where experience is shared, and growth is accelerated. Even the mistakes of older men can add to their appeal. A man who has failed and risen again has something a younger man does not: proof. Proof that he can survive collapse, adapt, and rebuild. That kind of resilience is rare and valuable. Younger women, often entering adulthood with fears of the unknown, see resilience as a shield. To them, he is not just a partner. He is evidence that life can break you, and yet you can rise stronger. So, while biology whispers about survival, psychology speaks about certainty. Experience and confidence make older men stand apart in ways younger men cannot yet reach. To a younger woman, this difference feels like stepping into a stronger reality, a place where she can learn, grow, and feel anchored. Attraction is not always about beauty, charm, or even chemistry. Sometimes, it is about safety. Deep inside every human mind lies the need to feel protected, to know that survival is possible even in the most uncertain moments. For younger women, older men often represent this exact form of psychological shelter. The pull is not always romantic at first. It can begin with trust, the simple sense that, with him, I am safer than I would be with someone else. This sense of safety is not only physical. It is also emotional and financial. An older man, through years of building himself, usually carries more stability. He may have a career, a home, or resources that reflect years of effort. To a younger woman, especially one at the beginning of her adult journey, this stability acts like a shield against the chaos of the world. While her peers may still be struggling to find direction, the older man already has ground beneath his feet. In the psychology of attraction, this stability is not just noticed, it is deeply valued. There is also the darker side of survival psychology. When faced with uncertainty, the human brain often looks for the strongest ally. It is the same instinct that made tribes in the past follow the oldest and wisest leader during famine or war. The mind is wired to equate age with strength of knowledge, and knowledge with survival. So, when a younger woman feels attraction toward an older man, part of her unconscious brain is reacting to this survival script. She may not say it in words, but her body and emotions already understand it. Emotional safety is another dimension. Older men, often having experienced heartbreak, loss, and recovery, tend to show a steadier form of affection. They are less likely to play with emotions or drown in drama. This creates a calming atmosphere for a younger woman, whose own emotions may still be intense and overwhelming. His steadiness balances her storm. In relationships, this balance can feel addictive because it quiets inner fears that she may not even be able to describe. But safety can also be deceptive. Sometimes, what looks like protection may turn into control. An older man may unconsciously, or even deliberately, use his stability as power over her. This is where psychology turns darker. The very force that attracts her can also trap her. Stability is beautiful when it is shared, but dangerous when it is used as a chain. This duality is why such relationships can be both deeply fulfilling and dangerously unbalanced. So safety, stability, and survival are not simple. They are layered. They carry comfort but also risk. To the younger woman, the attraction feels natural, but under it lies an ancient instinct whispering, "He can protect you. He can guide you. He can keep you alive in ways others cannot." That whisper is powerful enough to shape decisions, relationships, and even lifelong bonds. Beneath biology and safety lies another force that pulls younger women toward older men: emotional maturity. Life changes the way a person feels, reacts, and connects. A man who has lived longer has usually seen enough storms to calm his emotions, and this maturity becomes a rare and valuable trait. Younger women often find themselves surrounded by men their own age who may still be quick to anger, insecure, or unsure of their identity. Against that backdrop, an older man's composure feels like a kind of wisdom. It is not about being perfect, it is about being steady in moments when the world shakes. This steadiness creates an emotional anchor. When he listens, he does not rush to judge. When he speaks, he draws from experience rather than impulse. For a younger woman, this is more than attractive, it feels like safety for their heart. She may feel understood in ways she has never felt before. Emotional maturity is not loud, it is quiet, patient, and deeply grounding, and in relationships it creates a powerful bond. There is also a psychological dynamic that is harder to admit but very real: the father figure effect. Human attachment is shaped early in life. If a woman grew up with a caring and protective father, she may unconsciously seek that same warmth and guidance in her partner. If she grew up without such protection, she may crave it even more. In both cases, an older man can naturally fit into that space. This does not mean the relationship is parental, it means the brain links comfort, care, and authority with love. That connection is powerful and can shape deep attraction. On a deeper level, older men often bring perspective. A younger woman may struggle with small problems, feeling like they are overwhelming. An older man, however, places things in context. His life experience allows him to show that storms pass, that failures are not permanent, and that fear does not have to control decisions. This perspective does not just reduce her anxiety, it also expands her worldview. She grows through him, and this growth creates a bond stronger than surface-level attraction. But the same dynamic that creates closeness also carries danger. The father figure effect can make her overly dependent, placing too much of her identity in his hands. She may feel safe, but she may also lose the chance to build her own strength. Emotional maturity, while stabilizing, can turn into control if the balance is not kept. The line between guidance and dominance can blur, and when it does, the relationship risks becoming unbalanced. Yet despite the risks, many younger women still find this dynamic irresistible. Emotional maturity, patience, and perspective are powerful magnets. When added to the natural pull of safety and stability, they create bonds that feel deeper, more meaningful, and more lasting. For her, it feels less like attraction and more like destiny, like her heart has found a place it can finally rest. Every strong attraction has a shadow. While younger women may feel deeply drawn to older men, there are risks and illusions woven into this bond. These risks do not erase their connection, but they reveal the darker corners of psychology that often remain hidden. One of the biggest illusions is the belief that the older man can complete her life. His maturity, his stability, and his guidance may feel like answers to questions she has not yet solved. But no human being can complete another. When she builds too much of her identity around him, she risks losing her independence. In psychology, this is called dependency. It feels safe at first, but over time it can quietly weaken her own ability to stand alone. Another danger is imbalance of power. Because the older man has more experience, resources, and authority, he may unconsciously, or sometimes deliberately, use that to dominate. The relationship that began as nurturing can shift into control. What once felt like safety can start to feel like a cage. The younger woman may struggle to notice it at first, because the same traits that attract her, his maturity and guidance, also make it easy for him to justify control. There is also the trap of projection. She may not see him as he truly is but as a symbol. To her, he may represent security, wisdom, or even the father she wished she had. But symbols are not people. Sooner or later, the real man beneath the projection appears. If her love is built only on the image she created in her mind, disappointment can shatter the bond. On the other side, older men are not free from risk either. Being admired for experience and authority can feed their ego. They may start seeking younger partners not for connection but for validation. This can create a cycle where the relationship is not based on genuine love, but on one feeding off youth and the other feeding off maturity. When that happens, the attraction loses depth and becomes hollow. Still, it would be unfair to say these relationships are doomed. Many grow into powerful partnerships built on respect, balance, and shared growth. But for that to happen, both must step beyond instinct and illusion. She must hold on to her independence while learning from him. He must share his strength without using it as control. Only then can the connection become healthy rather than one-sided. The deeper reflection is this: attraction itself is never wrong. It is a signal from the human mind, shaped by biology, psychology, and survival. But what we do with attraction determines whether it becomes a bond that builds life or one that quietly destroys it. Younger women feeling drawn to older men is not a mystery, nor is it unnatural. It is a mirror of our instincts, our fears, and our longing for safety. But the challenge is not in feeling the pull, it is in choosing what to do with it.